looking at a hit and run.
Let me dump the body.
You've lost it.
Let's just pretend we were never here.
No, don't even. He was there, god damn it, and he was wearing your jacket, Barry.
This is my series to dissect films, the good and the bad of them. Let's lie to the world about killing a guy in I Know What You Did Last Summer. Welcome to Why You Hate. The 1990s saw a decline in the slasher subgenre. The heyday of the big three, Friday the 13th, Halloween, and Elm Street, was spiraling back down to earth.
We're fine!
The pulse of horror shifted to films such as The Silence of the Lambs, Misery, Interview with the Vampire, and Candyman.
Be my victim.
Slashers were literally saved by Wes Craven's Scream in 1996. Written by Kevin Williamson, it became the king of horror and a franchise easily able to make the big three the big four. So many films followed the style of Scream's success.
Give me all you got! Listen, give me all you got!
I mean, that makes sense. Give the people what they want. But was that enough? What most people don't know is that Williamson had a film he tried to get made even before Scream. Perhaps it could be lightning in the bottle again. Enter director Jim Gillespie, tasked with bringing Kevin Williamson's vision a reality in the horror world dominated by Scream. The question is, would horror fans get hooked on it, or would they flip out against it like Helen did when she got a while you're asleep haircut? Let's get down to brass tacks. So get ready to party hard and make stupid-ass mistakes like running over someone, lie to yourself to make your guilt easier to deal with because otherwise Barry will threaten the shit out of you. Make sure you don't get chased by a hook-wielding psycho while running in a beauty pageant dress. And never ask, what are you waiting for? Because no one will answer you.
The suspense is terrible.
He's gonna go this time.
I hope it'll last.
No matter how loud you yell. Here are the reasons why you hate I Know What You Did Last Summer, 1997. Number 1, story. Before we officially get started, let's just slow our roll for a second. With the new I Know What You Did Last Summer film out, a lot of fans are going absolutely banana pancakes one way or the other. This video isn't about the new film, but I did want to address the online criticism of Jennifer Love Hewitt. It's ridiculous, to be quite honest. The woman is in her 40s, she's had kids, and still killed it on the red carpet and in every other thing she has done since 1997. I'm just being real. Time is undefeated, and age gets everyone, as long as you're human. But that doesn't mean you still can't be amazing. Okay, on with the episode proper.
Yeah.
Kevin Williamson wrote the script for I Know What You Did Last Summer before his screenplay for Scream in 1996, but was unable to sell it. Following the big screen success of Scream, Columbia Pictures immediately bought I Know What You Did Last Summer and produced it to capitalize on the newfound horror success. Because I Know is a mostly straight-up modern update of the old slasher horror movie rather than a deconstruction of the genre, many critics and fans felt this was a huge step down from Williamson's more clever and innovative Scream scripts.
Bullshit!
The bottom line of the story of the film is, a year after running over a fisherman and dumping his body in the water, 4 friends reconvene when Julie, played by Jennifer Love Hewitt, receives a frightening letter telling her that their crime was seen. While pursuing who he thinks is responsible for the letter, Barry, played by Phillippe, is run over by a man with a meat hook. The bloodletting only increases from there as the killer with the hook continues to stalk Julie, Helen, played by Michelle Gellar, and Ray, played by Freddie Prinze Jr. An interesting fact is Melissa Joan Hart turned down the role of Julie because she thought it was, quote, another ripoff of Scream. part was not entirely wrong, as the two are very much cut from the same cloth and written by the same screenwriter. Williamson adapted Lois Duncan's novel I Know What You Did Last Summer first in the early to mid-90s. He shopped it around to studios, who all said no since slasher movies were dead at that point. So he put it away. Then around 1995, while house sitting for a friend and in the midst of getting shining like cabin fever after watching a news story about Florida's Gainesville Ripper, he suddenly got inspired. He reportedly whipped out the 120-page screenplay for Scream in about 48 hours while listening to the soundtrack for Halloween. He submitted it to the studios, and Miramax eagerly bought and produced it. Scream, of course, became a massive hit in December of 1996 and single-handedly revitalized the slasher genre. At that point, Williamson took his I Know script out of the mothballs and resubmitted it. Columbia Pictures then bought the rights, and the rest is history. So actually, Scream is a ripoff of I Know, and not the other way around. Although Scream is widely regarded as a meta-commentary on slasher horror movies rather than an example of one. Writer Lois Duncan was vehemently opposed to her young adult novel being reworked into a slasher film, stating she was appalled in one interview. This was due to the fact that her youngest daughter was murdered by an unknown assailant in 1989. She said, "As the mother of a murdered child, I don't find violent death something to squeal and giggle about." Her original book wasn't that far off from a slasher, though. It's still a bunch of guilty teenagers being stalked and terrorized by a murderous madman. It's just that nobody dies in her version, so in a sense, it's more like an old-school mystery. Aside from the characters' names and the teens hitting someone with their car, though, the plot is almost completely different from the original novel. In the novel, they did not hit a fisherman, but a young boy who was the brother of one of Helen's new friends. In addition, no one dies in the book. Barry is shot with a gun but survives, and Julie comes to a close encounter and was almost choked by Collie, the boy's brother, but Ray hits him with a flashlight. The movie basically only took the title to the book because in the end the teens come clean to the police in the book. Director Jim Gillespie recalled that though he had been unfamiliar with the screenplay's source material, that roughly 60 to 65% of the young women auditioning had read the novel as children. Jamie Blanks originally put together a trailer as an audition to direct the film, but it came in a week too late and he lost the job. However, producer Neil Moritz remembered Blanks and later hired him to direct Urban Legend in 1998. Urban Legend was another film that followed in the success train of Scream. Of course, if you know your horror history, and you should, the plot is similar to Prom Night from 1980, where the friends accidentally cause the death of someone and make a pact to cover it up, only for the past to come back and haunt them. The film has moments of paying respects to murder mystery and horror characters. One example of that is when Julie and Helen investigate David Egan's murder when speaking to his sister Missy. They tell her that their names are Angela and Jody. This is a nod to Angela Lansbury of Murder, She Wrote and Jodie Foster of The Silence of the Lambs. Number 2, characters. The characters were engaging in the film, and the lead 4 were fun to watch. To be fair, I Know What You Did Last Summer was much more serious than Scream. There were no over-the-top characters like Stu Macher or Randy. I mean, I guess Barry was a bit extra here, and there, and here, and there. Maybe the bombastic type characters in Scream is part of what made it so enduring to the fans. What do you think?
Give me all you got! Give me all you got!
Jennifer Love Hewitt had just appeared alongside Green Queen Jamie Lee Curtis in House Arrest from 1996 prior to filming this movie, and was surprised to see she was also filming a movie in North Carolina at the same time. Jennifer said that Jamie came over to the soundstage to wish her luck on her first horror film and would come over every day after that to give her a hug. The rocky roads surrounding Dawson's Beach, where Julie, Ray, Helen, and Barry have their hit and run, and later Julie travels across frequently, is the same mountainous road location used in the Alfred Hitchcock classic The Birds from 1963. Jennifer Love Hewitt actually auditioned for the role of Helen, and Sarah Michelle Gellar auditioned for the role of Julie. The former child star Jennifer Love Hewitt was 18 at the time of filming and said in an interview that her body had been very developed for years, but this film was the first role where she had to wear clothing that showed off her cleavage. She liked that since it helped her move into more mature roles. The producers asked the then 18-year-old Jennifer Love Hewitt if she would be willing to shoot a nude shower scene. She refused. However, they did still intentionally put her in very revealing tops that showed a lot of cleavage to quote-unquote make up for the lack of a nude scene. And for you Halloween fans out there, take note of this. Danielle Harris was also considered for the role of Julie James.
Oh shit!
Julie was the character with the moral center of the story. Haunted by the group decision to not report anything and basically be would-be murderers, she struggles to move on and keep healthy relationships. Hewitt delivers in this film, in my opinion. She was smart, brave, and vulnerable, aspects that make her a very good final girl, possibly one of the more underrated in the subgenre. Despite being part of the main cast and appearing in many key scenes together, the characters of Helen and Ray only speak to each other twice. Despite the fact that the two barely interact on screen, Gellar and Prince became good friends after meeting on this film. They later fell in love and married. Sarah Michelle Gellar was the last of the lead performers to be cast. Like Hewitt, Gellar was also known to American audiences at the time for her roles in television, primarily as Buffy Summers on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Jim Gillespie commented on casting Gellar, "I wanted an actress that had a warmth to her but could still come off as being a bitch." For the supporting role of Missy, Gillespie sought an actress with significant screen presence, as the character, despite appearing in only 2 scenes, is central to several major plot points. He cast Anne Heche in the role. This is the first of 2 horror movies that Sarah Michelle Gellar was in 1997, the second, of course, being Scream 2. She was even in a 1998 horror movie, technically speaking, Halloween H2O in 1998, because that movie used a clip of her from Scream 2. Sarah Michelle Gellar had to cut her hair short and dye it blonder for Scream 2, which was filmed in the same year as this. Because of that, Gellar had to wear extensions for the first half of the film before the killer cuts off her hair. When Julie tells Helen about the note, there are a couple of shots of Elsa, played by Bridget Wilson, looking at them. Elsa is also said to have been in David Egan's class at school, but in the book, Elsa is also a suspect. Gellar is a candidate for horror royalty, and you can take that to the bank. Her career has had years of horror goodness. As Helen, she was the hot blonde. Somehow, she was still able to project heart and steered clear of the total cliche bitch trope. Her chase scene is still to this day top 10 worthy. Reese Witherspoon auditioned but changed her mind and withdrew, but she recommended her then boyfriend Ryan Phillippe for the role of Barry. Phillippe and Gellar would co-star again in Cruel Intentions in 1999. That film also makes an oblique reference to this one, featuring a magazine cover with Jennifer Love Hewitt on it. A further connection is in both films. Philippe's character gets hit by a car, fatally in Cruel Intentions. Phillippe played the jock jerk to perfection. His freakouts and intensity will either sit well with you or make you throw a shoe at the screen. Freddie Prinze Jr. was the typical good guy. Unfortunately, he doesn't have more screen time, which is too bad, because I think he should have had more. Him being an actual fisherman should have been explored a bit further. It would have given him the opportunity to have more weight in the movie. Struggling with not realizing his dream and staying behind in town, literally following in his father's footsteps, provides a cool arc. Not to mention letting Julie go. How do you do that, bro? Chase that girl. You said you love her. Time to pony up. Number 3, The Fisherman. Kevin Williamson's own father had been a fisherman in real life and wore a slicker similar to that of the killer. This is what inspired the killer's outfit in the film. The killer's arming of himself with a hook is a reference to the urban legend, The Hook, which the 4 main characters recount at the beginning of the film around a campfire. According to Williamson, he wrote the scene as a way of indicating what was to come. basically what I was doing was I was setting the framework to say, all right, audience, that's that legend. Now here's a new one. Unlike Williamson's screenplay for the film's contemporary, Scream, which incorporated satire of the slasher film, I Know What You Did Last Summer was written more as a straightforward slasher film. Gillespie commented in 2008, "The joy of this film for me as a filmmaker was in taking the elements that we've seen before and saying to the audience, here's something you've seen before, knowing that they're saying, we have seen this before, and still getting them to jump." Gillespie also claimed that he felt Williamson's screenplay did not resemble a slasher horror movie, and that he saw it rather as simply a really good story with a morality tale embedded within it. Now, I don't want to go off on a tangent here, but let's just get to the bottom line. This is absolutely a slasher horror movie and should have been thought as such. If I was to give a big critique of the film, I think it didn't go far enough into the slasher subgenre territory. If it did, I think it would have been even better received and have better cult status than it does right now. Oh, by the way, the urban legend discussed at Dawson's Beach by Ray, Julie, Helen, and Barry is the boyfriend's death story, and all four of their versions are alternate incarnations of the tale. The initial being the hook in the car door campfire story, which did not feature the death of either the boyfriend or the girlfriend. The Fisherman has an amazing look in the film, and it's up there with the best that the slasher genre has to offer. Add the hook as his primary weapon, and you have a money-making horror villain. Unfortunately, the movie and subsequent sequels ultimately fell short of the possible greatness. What do you think? One scene shows Julie at her breaking point. Yes, I'm going to talk about that scene.
Oh shit!
Twirling around and asking the killer what is he waiting for, even though he's nowhere to be seen, so it looks like she's talking to the air. When speaking to Us Weekly in 2018, Jennifer Love Hewitt revealed that the iconic scene was a kid's idea. She said, "That scene was actually directed by a kid who won a contest to come on and create a moment for the movie, and it became the biggest part of the movie." She said that she had no idea where he was now, but that she wasn't thrilled about the idea of the scene at first. He's like, "I want her to stand in the street and turn around and just scream. What are you waiting for, huh?" Love Hewitt said. "I was literally like, are you kidding me right now? This is what I'm going to do? Okay." This was a great idea. Muse Watson's favorite scene was his character getting run over. He stated, "Me laying in the ditch beside the road, and I'm supposedly dead until they get there. And I'm not a warm-blooded person. I tend to be a little cool. I'm laying in the ditch, and they're setting up the lights, and I forced myself to shiver all over my body. The first AD ran over to me and said, 'Muse, do you need a medic?' And I said, 'No, buddy. I'm preparing for the shot.' I went to shaking and shaking, and when they said action, I totally stopped shaking and my body just relaxed like you'd never seen. And I laid there deader than a doornail till we got the shot." Concerning his character and his movements, Muse stated, "For me, I put so much study into every move I made. When you see the fast walk, I practiced that. I practiced the hook. I worked my tail off on this character. And just to keep the score, in this film, Julie never sees Ben Willis in the Fisherman slicker outfit. The final confrontation between the two was actually done in a way that was fresh. We'll get to that in a minute. Number 4, kills. Easily the best scene is the chase and death of Helen Shivers. This was done close to perfection. Her sister Elsa was absolutely useless.
And you blew it! You blew it!
But the tension, camera work, and music really gets me cued in. Sarah Michelle Gellar was out of sorts, and you can see homages to Halloween 78 and even Friday the 13th, the final chapter. You know what I'm saying. Jump out of that window, Helen. The department store was originally only going to be featured in one scene, but director Jim Gillespie liked the location so much it became featured more prominently, particularly in Helen's chase scene. The scene where Helen escapes from the cop car, interestingly, and I say the word interestingly with a crap ton of sarcasm, mirrors a similar scene in Scream 2 with Sidney and Haley. A bit of inspiration from a fantastic scene in Scream 2? Who knew?
Why, the real meaning of the word probably hits you like a ton of bricks.
When Helen is being chased and her sister finally opens the front door, she says you could have walked around to the Broad Street entrance. It's open. It's barely audible because Helen was screaming and frantically locking the door. The killer heard this, and that's how he got inside of Shivers to kill Elsa. In the scene where the fisherman disguised himself as a mannequin and jumps at Helen after the shot was filmed, Sarah Michelle Gellar and Muse Watson would look at each other and start laughing their tails off because they knew how scary that was going to be to the audience.
You fucking cockroach.
They were like, man, that's going to get him. Gillespie chose to film virtually no on-screen blood as he did not want the film to be overly gratuitous in terms of violence. The scene in which Elsa has her throat slashed while standing against a glass door had originally been shot from behind without any blood appearing on the glass. However, the producers worried that the scene appeared medically impossible, after which Gillespie reshot it post-principal photography with a visual effect of blood splattering across the glass. Upon test screenings of the film, he and the producers decided that a death sequence needed to occur earlier in the film to establish a sense of legitimate danger for the main characters. The scene in which Max is murdered in the crab factory was subsequently filmed and implemented into the final cut to achieve this. In the original script, his character was not killed. But was this enough? I mean, come on, this is a slasher horror movie after all. We have to have some deaths, right? No, not really. Okay.
Bullshit!
Johnny Galecki recalled doing a body cast for the scene where Julie opens the trunk and finds Max's dead body in it, with a crab crawling out of his mouth. He later got a call that production was shut down because Jennifer Love Hewitt was so upset by seeing the dead body cast of him. He called her and reassured her that he was very much alive. Let's take a look at the official Why You Hate body count, shall we? 6 are dead: David Egan, Max Nurek, Barry Cox, Officer Caporazon, Elsa Shivers, and Helen Shivers. Number 5. Finale. The final sequence on the boat was shot on an actual water-bound vessel on the Cape Fear River, which proved difficult for the actors and crew. According to Gillespie, the filmmakers nearly lost the boat while attempting to dock it due to the volatile waters, after which they were forced to leave and shoot other footage until the following day. The reveal of Ben Willis was amazing and also full of tension, a murder mystery that worked for the most part. The boat was full of hidden rooms and tons of things that could slice and dice. No doubt that Julie was in need of old Ray to help out in order to save the day. The ice inside the storage of the boat was made of gelatin so that JLH could comfortably move around inside. When Julie is running from Ben while trapped on the trawler towards the end of the movie, Ray boards the trawler and fights him. Ray gets thrown off into the water, but catches a rope, and as he pulls himself back towards the boat, his jacket comes off. When he climbs back in the trawler, he is only wearing his sweater. It clearly comes off while he's catching the net. They thought we didn't notice it, but we did. The film originally had a different ending though, where Julie James is chatting with Ray online. She gets the pool party invitation, and then another person starts a chat with her typing in, "I still know." Then the killer jumps out on her. This ending was used as a teaser trailer for the sequel. Let's be honest, the ending that we got was tons better and much more suspenseful. I mean, don't get me wrong, JLH in Nothing But a Towel is awesome, but truthfully, the locker room showers is about as vulnerable as a person could get, a good way to end the movie and stick the landing. The director was very aware of the film's status in history. He wasn't interested in making a horror film particularly, he told Digital Spy. It had that core dilemma of, what would I do if this happened to me? That spoke to a young audience that was about to embark on their adult life, go to college or university. The movie was all about how these 4 young adults deal with the worst possible thing ever, and in choosing the wrong choice, How does karma come after the teens who did it? If you made a mistake and fucked up, what would you do? He continued. Would you bury the secret? The audience got it, and that's exactly what they hooked onto. That's definitely a major reason why the movie did well, because it was just campy enough to be a horror classic, but it also was a bit serious enough to get people thinking as well, and to think the scene that's lived on the longest is the one that was directed by the kid. A TV series based on the films was produced in 2021. It featured nudity and explicit sex scenes, though the films didn't, and let's be honest, the TV series does not exist.
Oh, you're right. And when you're right, you're right. And you're always right.
Although the film is not specifically included on Roger Ebert's most hated list, he only awarded it 1 star and described it as, quote, a tedious series of obligatory scenes in which non-essential characters are murdered with a bloody hook. Well, that sounds just about right, doesn't it? Not.
Fucking hold up, well then there, motherfuckers!
At the end of the day, I Know What You Did Last Summer stepped in the shadow of Scream, showed us how guilt can mess up BFFs, made us ask what are you waiting for, and we as fans must deal with it. You have to ask yourself, was this what you wanted in a slasher? That is a question only you can answer. As always, this video is not here to make you love I Know What You Did Last Summer or to hate it. It's simply a discussion to highlight the history and aspects of it, good or bad, with you, the viewer. So what do you think? Are you a fan? If so, tell us why. If not, let's discuss why you hate I Know What You Did Last Summer. If you haven't hit the like button for more content, please do. If you're not subscribed to the Night Watch Zone, this is the time to do it, and become part of this fantastic movie community where you'll never love and talk about movies the same. If you like this video, check out my other Why You Hate videos and other content, including live streams here, and I'll see you there. If you're watching this, if you're listening to this, you are the Night Watch. Peace.